Right then, this is the cheap flight adventure to Bergamo in Italy. So before I start off at the beginning, which is at the airport, I first want to talk about something. Something that needs to be discussed. Something that Italy has done correctly, which the UK has completely fucking failed at. I'm talking about how to run a lift in a building, in a small scale building. And I count a small scale building as any building that's between 3 and 10 floors, which to me is relatively small scale. Because these small scale buildings that were built in the 60s and 70s originally had very heavy duty, classic old fashioned lifts. Lifts that were well built and were built to last. Except in the UK, there's almost none of these left. At the point of recording this video in 2023, it is very rare to find an old classic lift from the 60s, despite these lifts being incredibly heavy duty and over-engineered because of pressure from stupid, shitty generic lift companies and building owners who are completely thick and have no idea how to run their lifts. They've replaced them with disgusting crap generics. Now let's compare this to what happens in Italy. Because in Italy, their locally produced lifts, their generics, are worse than the generics in the UK. Italy don't even have Dewhurst generics. Despite how crap those are, those are too good quality for Italy. Italy has even worse generic lifts. Some of the most disgusting lifts ever built. Cheap, nasty, flimsy, horrible things. But the thing that Italy has done correct is that some building owners actually seem to understand that. So they don't replace their old lifts because they know that their classic old lifts, nothing on the market could compare with them. Let's now talk about Fium. Fium is the company that built most of the lifts in the small scale buildings in Italy in the 60s and 70s. They were everywhere and there are still lots of them in the modern day. They were Italy's equivalent to what Express was in the UK. The well-built standard little lifts that you got all over the place. And the thing is, if you're a building owner of a small scale building in Italy and your building has got a Fium, then consider yourself lucky. And it seems like a fair number of these building owners understand how lucky they are to have these really good, small, very simplistic, little but very reliable lifts. And they don't replace them because they know if they replace this lift, the more anything that replaces it will be worse. If they were to replace it with an international brand lift such as Cone or Schindler, even that would be less reliable than the Fium. Unless they went for a very high spec such as a Cone MX-20. But let's face it, a building with like 7 floors, a building owner's not going to be able to afford an MX-20 really, are they? But as for the Italian generics, they are so nasty and completely shit. The Fium could outlast 10 of those pieces of crap. So if you're an Italian building owner and you've got a Fium, you would be an absolute downright idiot to replace it. Because these little Fiums are simplistic, but they just work and work perfectly. So let's take a look at the Fium. So let's now start the cheap flight adventure, and let's start off in Bergamo Airport. So here I'm at Bergamo Airport and let's go along to a lift. On the outside this looks like a modern eco-disc, but the outside of the lift has been refurbished, and when you take a look inside the lift is actually a classic 90s eco-disc. let's now go to the airport shopping centre, because this airport's actually got a shopping centre next to it. It's actually the largest shopping centre in Bergamo, and it's a really nice shopping centre. You don't normally get like the major shopping centre for the entire city right at the airport. So this is very interesting. Let's take a look around this shopping centre. This shopping centre's got some very nice decorative features. They added loads of sort of arty bits to it, like this bit here about music. This bit's really nice. Let's now take a look at the first lifts, which are Schindler 3300s. That's a very under-spec lift for all of the abuse and high number of passengers it's going to take in a shopping centre. Oh, that's cheap. For a shopping centre, that's very cheap. But luckily, only this one set of lifts was 3300s, as a lot of the other lifts are 5500s, which is a much better spec for a shopping centre. No pre-door. Also in this shopping centre is loads of other art installations, such as all of these sort of sewing themed art installations. I actually really like these. Having all these decorative bits to a shopping centre gives it a lot of character. And over at the other end of the shopping centre, it seems they changed contract for the lifts on this part, and the lifts are ThyssenKrupps. Modern, horrid ThyssenKrupps. The really cheap, nasty type, which is no more than a Spanish generic. How could ThyssenKrupp put a name to this rubbish? Well, that said, ThyssenKrupp's gone completely downhill, and I don't even know if they're going to survive as a lift company. They've gone so bad recently.
Is it floor 2 though? Oh, I'm on floor 1. Is it floor 2? You've got floor numbering right. Fucking hell. The quality of these things nowadays is appalling. ThyssenKrupp's latest shit model. It's basically a Spanish generic. That ThyssenKrupp's brand is their own. It's the cheapest thing imaginable. I do wonder if it's got diagonal chassis, but I doubt it for this cheapness. Shit piece of shit. It takes ages to open its doors.
And now along to a shit generic. What the fuck is that?
The cheapness is unreal. So I've gone from Schindler 5500 to this rubbish. Made by, or installed by, that crap. Well, I didn't expect this piece of shit to get a floor numbering right, and it hasn't. That's 1 and that's 2. Slow levelling. Very slow to open its doors.
So then, let's now go into the centre of Bergamo. This is what the city centre looks like. I visited this city during a heat wave. Heat waves and lift adventures, which involve lots of walking around many buildings trying to find a good lift, do not mix. It is 39 degrees here. Scorchingly hot. And in the city centre I did actually find many lifts. Partly because it's so hot it's hard to walk around, and partly because I don't think there was that many here. Although at the Carrefour supermarket there is a Theum lift. But sadly it's been modernised.
Oh no! What's that shit? The coning, that's nothing to do with cone. Cone installed it, let themselves go bad.
In Bergamo, there's two funicular railways. There's a funicular from a lower town to a middle town, and a separate funicular from a middle town to the upper town. If you want to see the ride on these funiculars, I'm going to upload these as a separate video. Let's now go up to the middle town. And this is very touristy. The sort of thing that tourists like to go and see, old town centres. It's not really my sort of thing as such. This is sort of the thing that tourists see.
Well, I say lions are strong. This one's strong enough to hold up an entire building. Is it friendly, or is it going to bite me if I put my hand in its mouth? Ow! No, lion, don't bite.
And now let's take a look at the top of the second funicular right at the upper town. And it's not really that much up here. So then, let's now take a look at a place where I was staying, which is this very small scale independent accommodation. And it's very nice. It's a shared apartment, but when I was here, I was the only people here, so I had this whole apartment to myself. For Italy's standards of really high price for hotels, it was below average price for Italy, but everything in Italy is quite expensive really. And this apartment's actually really nice. It's a really spacious apartment. The room we're staying looks like this, and it's pretty decent. Let's now take a look at the temperature. 39 degrees. Far too hot. For most of the day here, I actually just went swimming in the lake because it's the only place you could really cool down. Sadly, I forgot to bring a waterproof case for my GoPro camera, so I didn't get any swimming footage. So then, let's now take a look at Bergamo train station. And now let's get on a train and go to the next city, which is Lecco. So here I'm in Lecco. Let's take a look at a train station.
I'm not too sure it's come from. The ride from Como.
And now let's go to the first lift I found in the city. This is a quite unusual looking lift. A slightly older, maybe 80s or 90s style Italian lift, and this lift is hydraulic.
Piccanelli! What better name for a lift? So you've got a side opening door and a centre opening door on the same lift. Hydraulic.
Let's now go downstairs to the basement and take a look at the motor room. This motor room features a propped up mop that goes to the logic cabinet, weird, and features a really crappy logic. And now it's time for a classic Italian fire fail.
Can you get out? Can't get out. That's a fire fail. So you can't get out without a key. So to go out you have to lift back up. Fire regulations don't apply in Italy.
This city has this very retro looking shopping centre. Although the lifts in the shopping centre were completely, utterly shit.
Everything closes so early here. 8:30 and parking is already closed.
Let's now go along to the next lift. This one is a very shitty generic lift. And the motor room's actually above the top floor like it's meant to be a traction, but it's actually just a hydraulic. And now we go to the next lift. And what is that symbol on the call button? That's very weird. This lift is another hydraulic lift.
Oh, got a feed on that. Hydro. That's a mix of parts. Curti on the inside, DMG, ThyssenKrupp on the outside, Falcone on that, ICT Genius, ThyssenKrupp. It would be nice if I had a diagonal chassis, but it's hydraulic on a size chassis, sadly. Quite rare to get diagonal chassis lifts, especially in Italy.
We go down to a basement and take a look in the motor room.
Full speed inspection.
Let's now take a look at a view of the mountains.
Over there you have a mountain, and over there you have a second mountain.
So then, now go back to the train station and get on a train and go to the next city, which is Brescia. And here I am at a main railway station in Brescia. This has got a cone eco-disc lift.
Floor -1.
Let's now go along to the main shopping centre in the city centre of Brescia.
Well, guess what? The main shopping centre here, the large main shopping centre for this city, is abandoned. That's ridiculous. It's not as closed, that is fully abandoned. I don't really understand what it is with Italy. It seems to be a half-failed country most of the time. Certain areas seem incredibly dilapidated. Well, I missed it by a week or two. It's literally just gone abandoned. Fucking hell. Couldn't even keep a major shopping centre going. That shows you how bad the economy is in Italy. Everything's very expensive, yet the service and quality and facility you get is very poor. Italy's a really struggling country. Let's see if this won't work. Yep, obviously will not work. It's abandoned.
Brescia also has an Ansaldo Breda automated metro system, which is very interesting, and I'll do a separate video on this. But let's take a look at one of the lifts down to a metro station. Notice that this lift has got a secret floor.
L'ascensore time. Lift going up. Piano terra, third floor. L'ascensore scende. Lift going down.
Secret floor.
Anneggiato, second floor.
There's nothing in there. Fuck.
Let's go to the secret floor. And now let's go along to what I consider the most interesting building in Brescia, which is the hospital. This hospital is very large, features loads of different buildings, and is very fun to explore. And it's got 1960s Schindler lifts. Let's see if we can find an original one at URBEX. Along to the first set which I found, which are bed lifts. Sadly, these ones have been modernised.
Beep. Stinks in there. And it's very slow now, it's had a mod.
Around the corner from these lifts is a swing door and an automatic door 1960s Schindler lift. You can see that the automatic door one has a more advanced logic as it's got an up and down button and can take multiple calls at a time, while the swing door lift has the occupied light, meaning you can only call it when it's not in use as it only takes one call at a time. But sadly both of these lifts were not working. And around the other side there's another two 60s Schindler lifts, again an automatic door and a swing door one, but these two lifts also were not working. Now along to the main passenger lifts at this part of the hospital. These are some 1960s Schindler lifts, modernised in the 90s and have since been modernised again.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
So let's explore this hospital, and I looked all over this hospital until I finally managed to find a 1960s Schindler goods lift that worked.
Oh, one there, Fred. Very nice. Sensors? Yeah. Can we re-level it? Live level. No, we can't do it. These are useful. England should have these. National Agency for their own showing, or I'm guessing it is, of information. It shows you what manufacturer is and your capacity. Very useful thing to have. Makes it a lot easier to know what your lift is when it's been had a mod.
And allow me go to another goods lift. This is a swing door lift that as a 1960 Schindler has been modernised recently by Schindler.
Fast around the buttons, let's go up to 9. Authority, the key switch, weird. A mod of an old Schindler.
And along to another two lifts, again a swing door Schindler and an automatic door Schindler. Sadly all of the 60 Schindlers with automatic doors were all not working, but a swing door one here did work, so let's ride it.
Oh, 7 lights up still. There's no button there, so that's not going to work. These two have been modded. And the corner, that's gone. And that one is occupied.
So then we now leave Brescia and go back to Bergamo. And along we go to an abandoned factory. Let's go and explore it.
there's a lift. Didn't expect that, otherwise there'd be no lift in it. So that's the lift. I doubt there's any remains of it really. There's nothing really left in this building. No, there's nothing left in there. So fucking hot. Little valve here. Our bridge looks interesting. Is that stable enough to take my weight? I think it is. You get in the top there, you might get to that motion, so fuck it, let's do it. You've got a little tramway going through here. What sort of tram ran along this? Or is it an Ansaldo Grader? Obviously not. Oh, look at steep. There must have been funicular cable pulled for that. There's no way to get up there. Let's go across the bridge. Hey, little railway. Okay, top floor of a building across the bridge. That bridge does look quite good. Didn't expect that for an URBEX site to have that big bridge. How it goes up the chimney. Do I trust these chimneys? I'm not sure. They're very old. A cooling tower in the distance. Got a tram down there. And up here we've got an URBEX site. And here's the lift. That's the top floor of the lift. Is there anything left in the motor above? I'm really not sure. There's down the lift shaft. And up there's the motor room. There's nothing in that motor room at all. Any buttons? Oh, there's buttons here still. But here I'm on the roof. There's your bridge down there. There's the chimneys. I'm not sure I climb these, so I don't trust those ladders. Some of the rungs that last ladder gave way as I went up it. Do I trust these? I don't know really. I mean, it looks so good to get up there. That one, first one feels solid. I just don't trust that. It's like trashed URBEX sites, you never know the condition. Let's see if the motor room's still there, even though I know it isn't. But let's just hope there's a bit of motor still left. That chimney really looks good, but yeah, some of those rungs are slightly moved, like, oh, you want to fall from up there, especially in a foreign country. Shame, it would be nice to get up there. I bet other people have, people more daring to take the risk. Here's the motor room. Oh, it would have been a ladder from there, so it's not from the roof, it would have been a ladder there. Take you up to the motor room, but I can see there's absolutely nothing left in there. Yeah, there's fuck all in there. Ooh, long way down. Just climbing up a little bit there to the roof. Some of these rungs really wobble. That one wobbles. That one, fucking hell. Yeah, that's why I didn't climb the chimneys. It's not worth the risk. It's like a big viaduct. It's really strange. It's got a railway on it as well.